On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Doing final checks. Wi-Fi. To Hobart Town. Just doing final checks here. Pleasant 5 degrees Celsius. Oh, hey, look, I'm leaving a little bit later, but those pitch black mornings are gone. Although we've had a massive, big, fat full moon, like you guys would have if you're on the other side of the world. And so the nights have actually been pretty light because of the lack of cloud and the big, fat moon. Yes, I fat shamed the moon. My channel will do whatever I want. G'day, gorgeous. You've got your snacks. Yes, I was about to get to that. Welcome aboard. Hopefully, like Scout, you've brought your own snacks, beverages, seatbelts, little bag of peanuts that may contain traces of nuts, life jacket, because, you know, who doesn't need a whistle and a pissweak little light when you're in the middle of the ocean somewhere? Hey, cement shoes. Yeah, you guys have got Canada Day and born on the 4th of July. Although it's not quite the 4th yet, is it? May the 4th be with you. Such an interesting holiday because Australia has a similar one, Australia Day, but it's shrouded in such controversy that half of Australia wants to party on, and the other half wants to acknowledge that we invaded an already occupied country, you know? So not everyone's like, woohoo, happy Australia. Kim Heffernan. Happy Canada Day. I used to say Canada as a joke on stage, and we had a really stupid prime minister who actually pronounced Canada, Canada, and ruined my one-liner. Just with your little typo there, the CSPS, it just reminded me of CPS, like Child Protection Services, and I haven't watched a lot of TV lately, but I did watch a Netflix show, and I'm surprised I got into it, but I did, and I was just absolutely broken watching it because it was a very, very tragic story. But I can't remember the exact title, but it was something like "Please take care of Maya" or "Who's taking care of Maya?" Something like that. This girl that had a disease, and the treatment was a little bit controversial. The treatment that worked for her, because it involved her being given ketamine, and then she ended up like she'd have these sort of absolute relapses, and she ended up in a John Hopkins hospital in Florida, and because it was such an odd disease, like even though it was, and you know, with the same sort of manifestation of symptoms and everything else, the hospital decided that the mum had Munchausen by proxy and was essentially but it's such a heartbreaking story, and also a story of just that insistence at some family that they just believe that, hey, blissful, they just believe that one day it's all going to be okay again, with tragic outcomes before they got to that point. But the other reason why it was so terrifying was they also interviewed a lot of other families who had been charged with abuse or neglect, or had been imprisoned or are still imprisoned. And so many were clear, but there was a consistent theme in the states as well, who were just, I mean, they have to investigate if a child's possibly being neglected or abused, but these doctors essentially just decided from the start that the kids were, and then just worked out a way to make whatever. It's fucking scary. Have any of you seen it? It's pretty full on, but it's something like who will take care of Maya, or who's taking care of Maya. Maya's the girl that's in the hospital for like, oh, I can't even remember how many days. Wow, that's a chunky comment there, Kim, that I'm not going to be able to read the full thing, but I think the gist of it is I'm assuming that there's a bit of Taylor Jinx, how the fuck are you? I'm just talking about a Netflix show. It's nothing groundbreaking. Well, it's a pretty revealing expose of child protection services in America, that's for sure. And don't get me wrong, CPS Australia also has issues. But this, once again, I should be on Smooth Criminal, but once again, the presumption of innocence doesn't always apply. These families in America, they were guilty from the start, according to the doctors and the hospital and CPS. It's really sad too. Like, the outcome is unbelievably tragic, um, and completely unavoidable. Like, that family, the main family, but the other families too. But that family, they were actually abused by CPS and the hospital and the system. They were the ones. They were the victims. They were the ones who were abused by this organisation that's meant to protect children. They actually abused this child who was hospitalised, and the entire family, because this poor kid happened to be born with a disease that it's pretty unusual. I can't remember what it's one of those ones that's been shortened to initials. Like, it's got 4 words. It's something like CPRS or CPRM or something like that. Um, this poor kid just had the misfortune of being born with this disease, which was excruciatingly painful and debilitating in its own right, without them then getting caught up in this fucking system. And the system, the hospital, the doctors essentially destroyed a family. Haven't seen you forever, Tainer. I hope you're well. I noticed the soft six got brought up again in CCC. That's it's the gift that keeps on giving. There's like a new generation of people discovering it in CCC. It made me laugh. Made me laugh. So yeah, if you want to watch it, it's punch in your face sort of stuff. But because I've resubscribed to Netflix, because I wanted to watch Queen Charlotte. Now I'm basically just going this year if I have a moment and I feel that watching some TV with Sunny is the way to go. I'm just putting on whatever Netflix is recommending, and that was a recommendation. But so's the bloody Chris Watts. I shouldn't hate saying his name. The Netflix documentary about Shanann and the girls. That keeps coming up, and I'm like, I think I've watched that about 17 times. I don't think I need to watch it again, but thank you. They should do a soft sit. Maybe I should pitch it. Because I've been listening to a lot of scam baiting channels and podcasts and stuff lately. I go through phases. So I'm sort of listening to that. I'm listening to that singer reacts to all of the singers and songs I haven't yet heard him reacting to. And I'm also back in the watching Americans learn about Australia. And I'm like, Tori, get on with it. Start doing all these little Tasmania videos and stuff that you've wanted to do for ages. In fact, guys, I'm going away this weekend. I'm going on a girls' weekend. And I'm going up to like the northeast coast of the island where we haven't been yet. And I really, really, really want to show you some places up there. And the girls, they're just going to have to understand that I do YouTube, but also like for me to be in a house for a weekend with 5 girls, or 4 girls and me, and I adore them, but like a full weekend, I need some time out. That's just the way I am. It's like I'm driving up on my own as well because the road trip is part of the holiday for me, but also I love driving and I love being able to put on my music and podcasts and sing along and do whatever I got to do. I'm going to work, Tainer. Tuesday morning. You can see the moon, actually. It's cloudy, so it's a bit blurry. But I'm on my way to work. So, yeah, I'm driving up on my own and I want to do a bit of YouTube while I'm up there. And I wake up super, super early. So I'm thinking one morning I'm going to go up and show you. I've got to Google Maps how far it is from where we're staying. Because if it's more than an hour each way, it's probably better that I do it on the Sunday when we all disband and start to head home. But I don't know where I was heading with that. We're about to go over Scout's favourite causeway. Uh-oh, what do we got here? A garbage truck with flashing lights. Jesus, the lights on the back. It's like it's having a little disco. I think it's you and me, Scout, for the Causeway of Love. Can you guys see the moon? It's at sort of like 12:05. God, leaving a little bit later, there's always so much more traffic going in both directions. I'm really envious of everyone going the other way because it means they all work down in my area. I want to work down in my area. I mean, I do. I worked from home yesterday. My boss got a gold star because it was one girl's day off yesterday and then another one was working from home and my boss was as well. And right when I walked down to the car, she rang me and said, apart from one volunteer who we can postpone, everyone's working from home today. Would you like to? And I'm like, hell to the yes, thank you very much. And I said to her, look, even if I'd been at Midway Point, which is just up here, when she rang, I would have still turned around and got home. You do love the Causeway. It's unofficially the Scout Inquirer Causeway. I love it too. I mean, I just feel like I'm driving in a painting to go to work every day. I don't know how people can be so grumpy when you've got this unbelievable scenery. Like, it makes me just feel so yummy and excited that I live in this place, but also that I get to see such gorgeous scenery. And isn't it peaceful? Sometimes, though, it can be wild as hell. Like, the Causeway is great fun when it's really windy and the water's really rough and it's splashing over the road. I love it when it's like that too. But other days it can be just like dead calm, reflecting, the clouds, and it's breathtaking. And a few weeks ago I was driving in and like 4 pelicans all just flew in and landed. I mean, I love pelicans. They just look so cheeky. And I'm just sitting in this sort of traffic watching 5 pelicans landing and just thinking, how can people be so grumpy when they get to see stuff like this? Do they even notice it? I'm on the right side of the road, baby. You're finally getting warmer weather. I've actually got a snowflake on my dashboard. It's now only 4 degrees Celsius, but I'm not cold. I mean, I've got heating in my car, obviously, but the weekend, the weather was insane. Like, it was so good, which is why I didn't do any cooking or anything, because I was having way too much fun being out and about. It was so lovely. But I'd also had a heavy week. I'd had another funeral on Friday, and it was an online one because the funeral was in London. And then on Sunday there was I contemplated going because I had a lot of friends who knew this guy, but there was a horrible bus crash in Australia a couple of weeks ago, full of wedding guests leaving the reception, and the bus was taking them to the nearby town where they'd all booked accommodation, and the couple organised the bus to transport all of their guests back safely to this nearby town. But from what it sounds like, there's negligence not just with the driver but also the bus company. And he was speeding and going way too fast into a roundabout, and the bus rolled. Well, it didn't roll, but it crashed and landed on a guardrail. It fell on its side, and 10 people were killed. And then I think another 25 were taken to hospital with injuries. There were like 30 or 40 people, I think 40 people total or something on the bus. But absolutely fucking horrific and totally avoidable. But anyway, one of the passengers was a local kid from where I live. As Australians, we all travel a shitload and move to other cities and states. And anyway, so Kane Simons, this boy that died, he's only 21, was a member of the surf club down where I live. So a lot of my friends knew him very well and know his family. And one of my good buddies is the guy that trains all the little nippers and grommets. Like, he does all of the surf lifesaving and surf lessons for little kids locally. So he'd known Kane his whole life. But they had like a surfer's farewell for Kane on Sunday at the surf club. And it's where the surfers all paddle out on their boards and they do a big circle and they take wreaths and flowers out, and they, you know, someone will take like a waterproof Bluetooth speaker out and they play some music and a few people speak and then they leave all the flowers in the ocean. It's a really beautiful tradition. But the weather, like on Friday, was so cold and just windy and horrible, and everyone was just hoping that the weather would be beautiful on Sunday for the farewell. And the whole weekend was just sunny and warm, and it was just like the most perfect weather for everyone to go out on their boards. So, I mean, I was thinking of going down to give my friends who knew Kane some support and love, but I ended up writing to them and leaving messages for them. But it was just so lovely that they had this gorgeous, perfect, sunny winter's day to send their buddy off. But fuck, it was horrible. Just a tragic, tragic loss of life. And one of my friends who did know Kane, we were chatting and talking about how horrible it was, but also for this young couple, every year on their wedding anniversary, which should be a celebration, it's also the day 10 of their friends died after being at their wedding, and numerous others injured badly. Like, how horrific is that? And the guilt that they're feeling too, because they organised the bus and, you know, thought they were doing the right thing, like letting their friends have a few drinks and not have to worry about driving. And that's how the night ended. It's just so heartbreaking. Most of you guys know I can't read chat while I'm banging on the highway. So I'm sure you're all keeping each other entertained. So that was a sad tale. And then, yeah, my childhood friend Peter, who lived in London, his funeral was unbelievably sad, but we're having a Tasmanian, he was a Tasmanian guy, we're having a farewell for him next month, which will be gorgeous, and his partner's coming out from London. It'd be sad, but Peter was so fucking funny that there'll be lots of laughs as well. We'll make sure of it, because Peter was such a classic that there's no way there won't be laughs. And his partner sent me a photo of the three of us. Oh my God, we just look like babies. But all three of us have just got this look of absolute mischief about to unravel. And it's pretty gorgeous, really. Like, it's a lovely memory, but it's hard not to remember him with a smile, you know, like. But anyway, we're going to have to get, like, we talked about CPS and a young Tasmanian dying in an absolutely horrific bus crash, and then my friend's funeral. So when I get to the car park and put my face on, let's think of some fun stuffs. I mean, you guys have got a party weekend happening, so, you know. Oh, thanks, Scout, but, you know, it's life. I mean, my sister and I were talking about it last night. Like, it's just, everyone loses people they love, and you can't go through life without losing people that you love. There's always going to be some people that leave before you do, and, you know, we've all got stories. But thank you. I think my brother will be giving one of the sort of, it's not a formal send off. I mean, it's in a formal setting, but there'll be a lot of people telling their Pete's stories, and yeah, they'll all be hilarious. But he and my brother were very close. He was actually, how he came into our lives is he ended up being, my dad was a QC, which is like in Australia, it's called a Queen's Counsel. And although now that we've got King Charles, anyone at the moment that has this bestowed upon them, they'll be a KC. But Queen's Counsel often have junior counsel, and it's usually like a lawyer who's just graduated from law school, possibly, or they might have a couple of years of experience. And they essentially work with the QC, and Pete was Dad's junior counsel for a long time, and that's how he came into our lives. And Dad and Pete, as a double act, were just too funny. But just an absolute character. And it's funny, like, I mean, I grew up with, you know, Dad in the public eye, and we got to meet a lot of powerful people and celebrities and all sorts of stuff. And I was never really starstruck because I was sort of around people like that from a really early age. So they were just friends of my mum and dad as far as I was concerned. But I remember when I met Pete, I was a little bit, I don't think starstruck's the right word, but his grandfather is the only Tasmanian Prime Minister that Australia's ever had. And his grandmother was also a very prolific, well-known Tasmanian. And I don't know, I think just at the age that I was, I would remember just being so excited to meet someone who had that sort of family history. And yeah, I was telling my sister that last night, and she was quite surprised because she's like, God, you know, we used to meet all of these unbelievable people and you never seemed to be gushy or starstruck with any of them. And I was like, yeah, no, it's just really weird that I just remember meeting a Tasmanian who had this lineage of, you know, family history of high achieving Tasmanians. I don't know, it was probably a bit of a Tasmanian thing, maybe more than a famous person thing. It was famous people from Tasmania that made me get all proud, I guess. I don't know. You guys know I'm very proud of this island. My pride in it started young, obviously. I mean, when you live on a little teeny weeny island that, I mean, now there's 500,000 people on it, which is still nothing. But as a kid, like I think the entire population of the island was like 250,000. So to have anyone from here that, did something remarkable, it was pretty exciting. Ambulance. Get to the hospital in time. Safe travels. Hopefully everyone will move out of the way to let the ambulance through. Ambulance, it needs to get to the hospital. Let it through, people. Let it through. You watch this. You watch the Taswegians all moving over so the ambulance can get up there. There'll be one car that doesn't. There's always one fucker. Everyone moves over. I mean, it's on the bridge now. Cement, hello. But yeah, there's always one car that just, even though everyone around them is pulling over, they just, for some reason, feel that they don't have to. But it looks like everyone's doing the right thing. It's nearly at the top of the bridge. I love that we do shit like that here. I love that everyone cares about each other like that. Except for the occasional wanker who, even though everyone around them is doing their best to let the ambulance through. I know it's ambulance and hospital, I'm being silly. There's still occasionally that one entitled fuckwit. And they always annoy me because if they had a family member who ended up dying because they didn't get to the hospital on time, they're the sort of people that would go on a TV show like A Current Affair complaining about what happened to their family member, and even though they're the people that cause delays for other people. Do you know what I mean? As soon as it's in their backyard, they become very fired up about something, even though it's the sort of shit they do on a daily basis. When it's not directly affecting them, they don't give a fuck. It's a beautiful, calm day here today. Oh, we're back up to 5 degrees now. The snowflake's gone. I saw a comment that you made, Tana, about your trip to work is 12 minutes on a bike. Yeah, but I live down the coast. I'm down on a little, it's 60 along here, fuckface. But, you do you, wanker. I love how the tailgating, speeding assholes are always in, like, branded cars. Yeah, see, now you're stuck doing 60 because that's the speed limit, you wanker. Trust me, Tana, where I live, like, in Tassie, if you have to drive more than 20 minutes to visit someone, I mean, I'm not like this. I've lived in other places where, I've had way longer commutes than this. But yeah, if you have to, like, I remember growing up, if you had to go over the bridge to visit people on the other side of the bridge, it was almost like, pack a lunch, kids, we're going on a day trip, like it was. And even my place, like, it's 35 minutes from town. Like, we're in town now, and look at the time. I've been live for 35 minutes. And people, when I first bought down there, it was like, well, even still, it was like people felt like they'd moved to the moon. And whenever someone, God, that guy is still speeding and tailgating. What a delight he is. It annoys me so much that the cops book people for doing like 65, driving through an area that's 60, like they're literally just doing 5Ks over in a little outer suburb or whatever. But you have fuckwits like that just driving like absolute lunatics, and why aren't they the ones that get caught, you know? Why is it the little granny that just went a couple of Ks over who gets hit with the fine and loses 3 points? You've got thugs like that just driving so dangerously and speeding and tailgating, like doing all the things that are illegal, and they don't ever seem to get caught. Annoys me. But yeah, I mean, for me, I don't want to, unless it's a job down where I live, I don't want a 12-minute bike ride to work. Like, I don't want to live in a city ever again. I've got a gorgeous little place down on the beach. And to me, the drive, it's still like so quick compared to when I was living in Sydney. Tony released Coburger. Dude, as they said on the castle, tell him he's dreaming. How are you? Tours favours here now. Well, you are up there with favourites, because knowing you are in the fishing industry and I absolutely love seafood, you certainly get a few bonus points for that. You keep bringing that tasty, tasty seafood out of the ocean for my eating pleasure. Thank you very much. Now, if you were in the pork industry, you'd still get a bonus because I like bacon, but I'm actually allergic to uncured pork, so you wouldn't get as many points. Did you have to take a floof to the vet on your bike, Tana? Oh, I follow on Instagram the guy that has the motorbike, and he's got a oh shit, what up? A Russian blue cat that goes on the motorbike with him, and it's got its own little helmet. Oh, you got a large chunk of swordfish the other day. And some blue nose, that's your favourite. I don't know if I've ever tried swordfish. I mean, I might have, I can't remember, but my least favourite fish is pink ling. I can't stand it when you go to the fishmongers and you've got a seafood curry in mind and they're like, oh, ling is amazing in a curry. It's not. It's gross. Don't sell me that shit. But it holds its shape. Yeah, that's why it's gross, because it's like little rubber cubes of an unpleasant flavour I don't want in my mouth. Thank you very much. It's a yucky there you go. See, it's all about the texture, isn't it? Like the texture of ling, ugh, yuck. No, thank you, ma'am. But then, like, I was watching, I watched the Australian series of Alone, and they were catching eels, and for some fucked up reason, I'm in this park that is so hard to get out of, but that's okay. I've got a little car, I'll be right. Yeah, so they had limited food sources, but one thing that they caught a lot Oh, no, but see, I love the texture of crayfish. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Although, God, isn't salmon controversial? Like, in Tassie, the anti-salmon farm movement is so full on that if you purchase salmon, it's almost like you have to, to mumble it and go, can I also have some salmon? And I kind of feel that, my ethical, it doesn't help that pork doesn't react well with me, but ethically as well, the pork thing is quite an issue for me compared to others. But so many people don't eat salmon, and if I'm having a dinner party or a lunch or something, I have to ask everyone what their food restrictions are, and so many of them just say salmon because of the controversy around salmon farms. Because I've had a guest rock up and I did salmon and they refused to eat it, and they not only refused to eat it, but they caused such a fucking scene. And I was like, you don't need to cause a scene. Like, if you had told me that you have an ethical issue with salmon, there's no way I would have cooked it, but you didn't. So once again, these people who are very passionate about a topic but don't tell anyone, so when you do the wrong thing by them, they turn you into the scumbag. And it's like, maybe you could just tell people that you would prefer it if there wasn't any salmon on the menu. I hate being sabotaged by people. If something, it's like with this sort of wokey pronoun stuff. Like, if pronouns are important to you, I respect that. But tell me what your preferred pronouns are before I use the wrong one, because I don't want to be accused of an act of violence for saying something I didn't know you were going to see as an act of fucking violence. Yeah, it is rude to complain after the fact. And there was so much other food as well. Like, it wasn't like that was the only thing on offer, but because it was sitting on the table amongst a banquet of food, I even got up and put the plate with the salmon on it up on the kitchen bench, out of sight, out of mind. But no, the ranting continued. But, I was having this conversation with a friend recently who has a really fascinating life and a lot of stuff going on that's not things that I've really had to deal with. Well, no, I have, but not in a large amount. And I'm curious about it and I want to learn. So I'm asking questions. And I got it's not our place to explain this stuff to you. And I'm like, well, it actually fucking is, because I'm inquiring as a potential ally and I want to understand this. And you're the one that is putting so much importance on it. So I think it's really defeatist to have such a strong opinion about something and be so passionate about something. And when you've got people who are curious and actually want to learn why it matters to you, it is your responsibility to explain it. Don't tell me to get on Google and work it out for myself. I'm sitting right here with you now. You brought it up. You explain it to me. I want to know, and I want to be an ally. What a fucking cop-out. If you're going to get totally butthurt because people do and say the wrong thing, the one way to fix it is explain to them why it matters to you. And I'll respect it. I respect that. If it's important to you, I'm going to respect it. But explain it to me. And you'll have an ally for life. But if you're going to get all fired up and angry at people for doing or saying the wrong thing, and they literally didn't know that it was going to piss you off, then maybe educating people about it before it actually happens or straight after it happens is how we all develop and evolve as human beings, It's how we all move forward together. But I would never, ever get all fired up and shitty about something that I found offensive. Not that I get offended by much at all, but I would never hold back the reason why it offended me and just be pissed off with someone, and that's someone saying to me, just explain to me what I did and why it upset you. No, you work it out. It's not my role to teach you why I'm a fucking snowflake. That's how I see it. I'm not holding back. President Putin is protecting the world from the madness of pronouns. I think Ricky Gervais is, to be honest. He's putting on some makeups. What did Tainer say? Smoked watermelon. Oh. Ooh, smoked watermelon. Do you know what is really yummy, though? If you like pineapple. Pineapple dipped in chili salt. Oh, my God. When I moved to Vietnam, well, even before I moved to Vietnam, when I went there as a tourist on holiday, there's little roadside stalls sold little triangles of pineapple. Like you'd get 4 or 5 slices in a little bag. And then hanging on the outside of the bag was a little bag of chili salt. And you'd open up the little bag of chili salt so that it turned into like a little dipping bowl. And then you dip the pineapple in it. Oh my God, it is so yummy. Especially like in a really hot, humid country, like, your pineapples and watermelons, all those really watery, cucumber, so refreshing. But yeah, we'd pick up these little snack packs of pineapple and chili salt when we were heading down to the beach and sit on the beach and munch down. Oh God, it was yummy. And we don't grow pineapples in Tassie. We're not tropical enough, but I have made it here from time to time, and I still love it. It just takes me straight back to Vietnam. Put on some powder, and I'll check the chats again. So yeah, if you like pineapple, give it a go. Just season the salt with the chili to your liking, like your taste. If you don't like crazy hot chili, just put a little bit in. But it's something else. Actually, that was something I saw or listened to. No, I saw it. I was watching one of the Americans reacting to Australian stuff. And one of the things that came up, which I didn't remember from when I lived in America, but the guy that was doing the reaction was not blown away, but was surprised to learn it was that this American that lives in Australia was saying another thing about Australia is the way they sell watermelon. Like you don't just sell a gigantic whole watermelon here. Like we sell it in halves and quarters and even eighths. Like you can even get a fairly small chopped up bit of watermelon, and it's all wrapped in plastic. But this American dude thought that was incredible, and well, not incredible, but interesting. I was like, wow, that's cool. And I didn't know that. I thought everyone would have sold portioned up pineapple and watermelon and stuff. I mean, the only time I've ever bought a whole watermelon, apart from when I've been having a big party, was when we used to go to music festivals and concerts. We used to inject vodka into a watermelon and carry it into the music festival in our food, in our eskies or our baskets of food. So we could all have a little cheeky vodka and watermelon party on the lawn while we were watching a band. But I didn't know that. I thought everyone sold watermelon in different size portions. Yeah, so you do just sell it whole. Interesting. You die with anything more than a regular chili pepper. Team pineapple on pizza. Oh, I'm hearing you. I love dehydrated pineapples too. Vegans, thin, pale people who smell like cabbage. The watermelons in Greece are the best. Oh, yeah, Queensland tropical fruits are amazing, but so are anything in Asia. Like Singapore, the fruit was incredible. Used to love all the fruit in Vietnam, except for durians, the stinkiest fruit in the world. But yeah, up in Queensland and even Byron Bay in the top of New South Wales, like my friend that lives up there, you know, she used to have like a mango tree and it would be so overladen with mangoes and just walk out and pick some for breakfast every morning. And she also had an avocado tree and I was just like, oh my God. Like fruit down here, we do lots of beautiful berries and cherries at Christmas time and beautiful apples, but once I'm in a tropical setting, oh my God, like I love dragon fruit, I love custard apples. I also love all the coconuts on the trees. Just don't sit under a coconut tree. One lands on your head, you'll be in a lot of pain. You might even die. Star fruit, oh God, all of it. Bring it on. So yeah, I'm way more nuts about in Tassie fruit wise, it's more of a baking with fruit for me or putting it in smoothies. I mean, I love blueberries. Blueberries are my favourite fruit, but down here. But yeah, if I head to the tropics anywhere, I'm just like, I need to eat all the fruit now. Shove it all in my face. But I mean, we can buy tropical fruits here, but I'm very big on buying locally and seasonally. But occasionally I do treat myself to a pineapple just because I love the shit, especially on a pizza. I actually do a ceviche that has pineapple in it, and when I read the recipe, I was like, oh, actually, I might do that. Um, I use like a sashimi grade tuna, and there's chili and pineapple and heaps of other yummy things. It's the best ceviche ever. All right, mascara's going on, and then I'm all yours. We've got such a feral day today. You know what? Last quarter, we broke a record for new clients. We had more clients in 3 months than we had in the first 6 years of the service. Not total, but like each year, the number of clients for a whole year for the first 6 years of the service was less than what we've had in the last 3 months. And we've got half the staff. There's literally 2 lawyers giving advice to clients every day, me and Sarah. Well, Sarah's full-time, I'm part-time. And then Melinda will do some calls if we're absolutely swamped. But yeah, half the number of lawyers and like when I was in private practice, there's no way I would have had even close to that number of new clients in 3 months. No way. And yet somehow, Sarah and I, for the most part, and I said to Melinda, I can't actually get over that figure, but then I can because it explains why Sarah and I are both half dead at the moment. Like it's such an exhausting time for us. So many people needing our help. And there's so many people at the moment that are just, not just in our industry, but every industry. My friends are all experiencing it too. There's just so many entitled people that are just fucking rude and who don't listen. They don't want to hear advice unless it's what they want to hear. And if it's not, they get really abusive or they will sabotage us. Like they've actually got a lawyer representing them. They don't tell us that and they call us. And the second you say something slightly different, they're like, well, my lawyer didn't tell me. Then it's like, you needed to disclose that at the start. Like, we can't even give you advice if you've got a lawyer. Just people are just absolutely off the show at the moment. And my sister's experiencing the same sort of stuff where she works, and she was saying she's getting feedback from private lawyers and stuff that are also, and but it's also friends of mine in completely different industries are experiencing it. Like people have really turned nasty. I thought COVID would have made people humble and grateful for what they had, and that sense of, we're one big global community, let's all look after each other. Like the dumb frigging eternal optimist in me believed that it was going to make people better to go through something that extreme, but also globally, like everyone in the same boat. But no, there's just this generation of, and I'm not saying young people entirely, but there's this generation of people that have come out of it who are just fucking horrible. Hey, Joey. No, it's not really tropical in the Netherlands. Oh, God, are you on? I'm on Tassie Court. It's like herding frigging cats on this channel. I'm like, what do I want to talk about today? Crime or just to catch up? Let's just go with the catch up. And then in comes Tony saying, what was it, free Coburger? Don't get me wrong, I don't mind. But it's just like my head is not even in there. I'm just waiting for the trial on that one. I'm keeping an eye on what's going on, but I'm literally watching channels that are credible and putting information out there that's verified. But it's certainly, I can see on my notifications, Joe and Tony, that it's certainly getting a lot of traction. Like there's a lot of additional stuff flying around out there about it. I just can't work out if it's just going to be the ultimate bloody shit show or whether it's, this watertight case and law enforcement are confident. Like, I don't know. It's so full on. And I don't have the time to, there's a lot of stuff that I won't even bother looking into because if it's not on that lawyer, or some channel like that, I'm not even going to look into it. But fuck me dead, it's pretty intense. So what were you saying? There was something about a new faked... Oh, is it fake? Well, there you go. Oh, you don't think it's fake? People forget quickly. You always thought Koberger was the door dasher, not the murderer. Why would you beep your horn unless, of course, you can't find the house? Well, but that's using Australian logic about beeping horns. You got to remember, Joey, that everyone, Greek lawyers are the best. Tony, your passion for all things Greek, and don't get me wrong, I get it. Go Greece. Oh, yeah, okay, about people forget. Yeah, gotcha. But the beeping horn thing, I don't know the video, I'm not commenting on that at all, but don't forget, you've got to use American thinking. Like, we were chatting about that only a week or two ago on this channel about how here, like, people beep their horns as, like, Greek friends and stuff, and they don't have this me. Like, when I went to New York, I could not believe how the traffic was at a standstill and so many people were beeping their horns. And it's like, no one can move. Why are you beeping your horn? Like, you're all stuck there together. Tina, so good to see you. It has been ages. It's, yeah, well, you haven't put the Joey, bless you. But I mean, I don't get it. Like, I can't go to work without you explaining it to me. What's the significance of someone of a car, of a video with a car beeping its horn? Like, who's made out that that means something specific and that they're right? I mean, I bump my horn by accident all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you have to explain this. You can't come in and talk about this stuff and just not let me go to work with some understanding of what the fuck it all means or the significance of it. Go to Athens. Athens is like that too. You did, but I don't get it. Hang on, I'll go back up again. I mean, you do realise I was putting makeup on. I haven't read every. I saw the. Why would you beep your horn unless, of course, you can't find the house? I don't understand what that means. New video being released. The white car beeps its horn. Death by coconut. That makes sense. I'll give Sonny your love's Tainer. 9 out of 10 mass unalivers toot the horn first. Beep beep, here I come. Joey, sorry, you might think in your mind you explained it, but I am none the wiser. Why would you beep your horn? Hang on, what was it? God, why would you beep your horn unless, of course, you can't find the house? But what if he just bumped it? You know, like that. I mean, was it like a toot toot? See, I'm not going to beep my horn again because, as you can hear, horns are not a beeping. Was it? Are they saying it was like a beep beep? See you later. But do we know that? Have we spoken to enough door dashers? So, delivery driver sometimes beeps the horn for the people who order food when the driver can't find the house. He'd already gone up once, then came back again, and that's where he beeps. Oh, so okay. So, based on what Scout just said, I'm assuming, don't assume, Tori, that the significance is that he had driven around, couldn't find the house, did another lap, and then beeped because he couldn't find the house. Is that what we're saying? I'm not sure it's evidence of mass unaliving. And okay, riddle me this, Batman. If he was the Uber or the DoorDash person, why was his DNA on the sheath? Bueller? I mean, I need to get up to speed on some things, clearly, but yeah, so what? Did he then, after delivering the food, go wandering around the house and he touched the knife rather than calling the cops and saying there's a house that I'm at and there's dead people everywhere? I'm just being, this is a really heavy thing to be trying to clarify or discuss before I'm about to go into the office, but I'm happy to do a Coburger live soon. And we can just talk about shit and you can all get me up to speed on stuff. But I'm just being devil's avocado here. You can't explain. But that's the thing. Because for cases to come together and evidence to prove guilt, like everything has to interconnect somehow. Like if the beeping car thing is significant and possibly pointing at his innocence, then you've got to look at all the other evidence that's pointing at his guilt, like the DNA on the sheath. And I'm very much an innocent until proven guilty person. I'm not, Coburg is not guilty in my opinion at the moment. He's a person facing charges, but you've got to look at all of the bits and pieces and put it together, and it's got to make sense. No, but it's a question, isn't it, Joe? Like, I can't explain it either, like, if you're going to put those two things together. But that's how they work out who's the most likely suspect, is because you've got to look at everything, not just each individual thing. They've got to interconnect somehow. I don't think they were very experienced in this sort of shit, though, Tony, although they've now got another quadruple murder in Idaho. That horrible story with the family living upstairs and the father going downstairs and wiping out 4 people. Like, what were the odds of that happening twice in the same state a year apart? Or 6 months apart. It was pretty random, right? No delivery person I know goes in people's houses. They only go to the door and, yeah. Unless you're having a party and you're like, am I your last delivery? Come and party with us. No, there's a lot of questions. Like I said, though, guys, I'm not following every single thing that comes out about it because I'm waiting for the trial. That's where I exist in the true crime world. Well, the people who are saying he's guilty, I'm with you. I think it's fucking pathetic, and it's been that way from the start, and we see that with so many other cases. And the system in America is innocent until proven guilty, apparently. But how often do we see the exact opposite? Like, especially on YouTube. And the people on YouTube sure as shit would want to be presumed innocent, and yet they're quite happy to throw every other person under the bus. I mean, look at Kylie Rodney. Or even look at Idaho 4. Look at all the people that were accused of, being the murderer before Koberger was even arrested. The jacks. Like, how can you can't be a YouTuber trying to espouse the principles of your justice system and ignoring the very core of it, which is people are innocent until they're presumed innocent until proven guilty. It's why YouTube true crime channels are fucking pathetic. Anyone who speaks about Koberger in a way that they are implying he's guilty, don't watch them. Same with the Summer Worlds channels that have already got Candace and Don, imprisoned for life. All these fucking know-it-alls on YouTube who are blatantly accusing people of committing crimes, and yet the Wellses haven't even been charged. And hundreds of people roll in and listen to those creators on the daily for hours on end, and are all like ready to, fire up the bloody 30-foot flamethrowers and go after people, completely ignoring innocent until proven guilty. It's so fucked up. Yeah, someone told me I should be doing that. Can you tell me, because I'm going to have to go into the orifice, Can you give me the name of a channel that does that? Because I want to see what they do, because I've been asked to do that as well. And I don't quite, I mean, I do react. I've reacted to, you know, the tragedy pimps, but I want to react to the channels that are putting themselves out there as being a little bit better than the tragedy pimps, but are still fucking terrible, that have huge followings. But I've got to be careful too, because Joseph Morris put a copyright claim in against me on this channel for one of my favourite things I ever did, which was the show where we watched the verdict for In Depp and Heard, and I had to remove it, like to permanently erase it, or I was going to get a strike. So I erased it before, and I'd actually thought about downloading it, and then I thought I had downloaded it and I hadn't. But I don't mind, because I've still got my favourite part anyway, which was all of the things that Amber was saying in court, and us all having fun with it. But yeah, that whole live had to come down because of Joseph Morris, the guy who put bullshit info out about Idaho murders and was exposed for it. He's a nasty piece of work. The orifice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm still waiting for pretty much everyone to apologise for what they said about Jack Decor, and, you know, like, apart from a very pathetic, limp little apology by Gray, who shouldn't have even gone down that path. He really lost the plot with it. He was into all of the let's blame everyone else. I was really surprised by him. That's when I stopped watching him. He bought into the unfounded speculation, and I was like, dude, you lost me, mate. You didn't have me at hello, but I'm having you at goodbye. I gotta go, guys. I love you, and I want to hang out with you. I don't want to go to work. True Crime King. All right, I'll check it out, because, yeah, I've had a few people asking me to do it, and I'd be really keen to. So show. And I have done it before, but I want to actually do it with the ones that are held in a little bit higher regard than, like, Bullhorn Betty, for example. Because, I mean, is she not being done to death? Like, how boring. All these channels that are making so much money and have grown overnight because they literally just rip her to shreds daily. It pisses me off. It pisses me off that there's so many people that want that too. And it's the same old shit now. Like, initially it was quite funny with a couple of channels doing it, but now they've all just seen dollar signs, and there's a need. Like, there's supply and demand. There are shitloads of people that want that shit day in, day out for hours on end. It's fucked up. Thanks, Joey. Yeah, everyone have a great day. I'm going to have a heavy day, but it'll be over at some point, and I might do a... Oh, hi, Emily. I'll do a co-burger. I'm going away on Friday, but Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know what time it's going to be or anything like that, but let's just have a chat about co-burger, and then I might even react to something during that live, and you can just see me being devil's avocado, because that's my favourite thing to do. That's my strong point, I reckon, is debunking fuckwits. Oh, you go on panels? Lost Souls, True Crime. All right, I'm going to go live about this in the next few days. I'll make a list of channels. We'll get onto this. Let's do it. Have a great day, beautiful people. I love y'all. But for now, stay groovy, everyone.